Yeah, I'm playing against playlionchess here. He's from the US. I think he's around 1900 FIDE rating. And he's got about, I think, 2100 or 20, yeah, somewhere on there in USCF. So he's an expert player. I myself, my peak FIDE rating was around 20 something, 2040 I think it was. But that was off the back of a really strong performance of me, and then sort of delved down to 1900. I've been stuck there for a while now, but now I'm making a push, trying to see if I can get back to 2000 ideally. I'm from Sweden originally, but I live in London now for almost going to be 5 years now in January. So we got a caro-kann here. And so I play with in the English system now, so it's called ECF, where I got about 160. So I haven't got to play many FIDE matches recently. Certainly not because of the lockdown. Okay, so we've got a caro-kann here. I looked at his openings a little bit before. On opening tree, I think it's going to be a classical line here. So classical main line. So we're going to take on e4. We're going to take back with a knight and then bishop f5. So I think he's just going to follow the main line, and I haven't really prepared anything in particular. I've just kind of brushed up on the line itself using Chessable, which I can really recommend for training. Oh, here's something new for training openings. So knight c5, maybe that's his prep already here. I know this is a tricky line. There's something you gotta watch out for here. See if I can remember this. So he's targeting b7 right away. Targeting b7. So the natural way to defend that would be queen c7. But then he might try to play something like g3. Let's see if I can draw lines here. No, I can't actually draw, can I? Okay. I don't have a mouse now, so I don't want to make a misclick. But I think he's going to play g3. Maybe I shouldn't draw lines anyway, because you can't do that if you have a real board. This league is trying to be like a normal classical game over the board, basically. But yeah, he's targeting b7. So I think queen c7 makes a lot of sense, but I'm thinking he will play g3, and he want to get this bishop out to f4 as quickly as possible. But of course, I think the danger being here, if I play queen c7, he plays g3, and to stop bishop f4, I was going to play e6 and then bishop d6, but it doesn't work because you can take on d6, queen takes, and then take on b7 anyway. So here, I think we can also sacrifice on b7, like we can play e5, for example. And if he takes on b7, I can take on d4. And I can argue the d pawn is more important than the b pawn. But he would also have shattered my pawn structure a bit here. I got pawn islands then on c6 and on a7. I could simply play b6 as well, but it's not necessarily a move I want to make. But let's have a look at it anyway. Because I don't really like in queen c7 and g3. I don't see what I can do to stop bishop f4 then. I suppose I'll be able to play e5 still, because then I can take with check on e5. Yeah. Maybe queen c7 anyway. Because the queen kind of belongs on c7 in a lot of lies anyway. Let's have a look at b6 quickly here. I don't want to spend too much time on this. b6. Is His knight has to move somewhere. He might jump into b7. So queen c7, then his knight is just trapped. So maybe he wants to go back to d3, but then I can just take on d4, right? It's starting to look b6. Starting to like that one more, but I feel like that's the move he wants me to play as well. And because he has his bishop on this diagonal still, he might just play knight a6. So my queen can't get into c7, then I mean I can take it, but I'm sort of helping his development a little bit. Queen c7 looks pretty safe though. Queen c7. Let's see, he plays g3. I want to play e5, because then I'm targeting the knight as well. I like that. e5. If he takes, I can just take his knight. Yeah, I think queen c7 makes the most amount of sense here. And I don't see any like huge traps about it. I mean, he might try to play d5. At least I have a check here, then I can pick up his knight, can't I? Yeah, queen c7, d5, queen a5 check. And he can't really block and save his knight at the same time, so yeah, I'm gonna play queen c7 here. Let's hope for the best. Cool. So I'm just gonna plug in my laptop as well. I don't have my regular setup here because I'm not at home, so bear with me if it's choppy. Hopefully you can hear me all right. Sorry about that. Okay, so bishop d3 simply. Okay. So that's not very scary. In a lot of these lines, actually, I've seen black just goes back to g6. Because I think his knight on c5 wants to go to d3 anyway. So he can have better control over e5. And I'm sort of helping his queen go out as well, if that's what he wants. So I'm thinking I'm just going to drop my bishop back, to g6. So that means I can take with the h-pawn before he had a chance to play h4 or something, before h6 is played, so that I can open my my file here for my rook, and I'm immediately targeting h2. So yeah, just dropping back here I think can be good. I don't really see any immediate dangers. I gotta watch out with a knight here. I gotta play very precisely in the opening. I think just going back. If he tries to get bishop f4 in, I can still play e5. That should be fine. So yeah, I'm gonna drop back here. Hopefully that will throw him off guard a little bit as well. I gotta watch out for e6 here. He can have some tricks here. Maybe with queen g4 or something like that. That's another bonus of dropping the bishop back. Because if I take with the pawn here, I have more protection over the g7 square, which is often vulnerable in these kind of lines when the bishop comes out. But yeah, I think this should be okay. If he takes, I'm going to take with the h, of course. Can do that pre-move. Nope. So knight f3. So now he wants to get into e5. But even if he does, I think that's alright. I can still take back with h pawn, that would be fine. But here it's a bit harder to play e5 now, of course. I might have to play knight d7 or even b6 first. Knight e7 is at least throwing a question mark to his knight here. So maybe he will come back to e4. But then I can play knight f6, again threatening the knights. And I think I have pretty good harmony here with my pieces. Yeah, I think knight d7 makes sense. Or even just e6, now that I can't really play e5. e6 might be a more useful move, because I'm not completely sure what I want my knights here, but most likely I'm not going to have time to play c5. So my knight should be fine on d7. Yeah, I think knight d7 makes sense. Stopping knight e5 right away. He can, okay, maybe he will just take it. Queen takes and knight e5. Perhaps I'm losing too much tempo then, but I think I can just take on d4 in that case. Knight e7 takes, queen takes, knight e5. Take here. He doesn't have any checks yet, so it's just, yeah, it's just going to be a pawn up then. White's going to have some activity, of course, but I don't think it's going to be enough. And I'm quite happy about trading pieces here, even if I lose a little bit of tempo. So I think knight d7 makes sense. He's made so many moves with his knight anyway. So if I lose a little bit of tempo, I think that's alright. Okay. Yeah, if he takes, of course I'm going to take with the queen. Yeah, there's no way I can take with the king. So let's just make that. So yeah, it's, once again, this is the lichess 45 sorry, team league. I'm playing for team Pawn of the Dead on board 1 here against playlionchess, who is also streaming, I think. I think the plan is we're going to have a little talk after the game as well. Just get that initial analysis out, trying to explain our thought process. I think it's important that you don't just jump to the computer analysis right away, that I've seen a lot of people do. Trying to let's go through your thoughts through the game and try to see mistakes yourself before doing any kind of blunder check. And even if you check with the computer, you might see that you're behind all this time, but your opponent had to find the exact move like every time. So you can look at, if you increase like the variation, see if you see like 4 variations at once, the evaluations, you can see that do I have to find just 1 move here, or do I have to find 3 moves? And 3 moves is okay to stay in the game. That can also give you an idea of how difficult the position is to play. So yeah, make sure you analyze with humans first if you can. That's why I try to, when I play a tournament game, no matter like how frustrated you are after you lose, like just try to talk with your opponent a little bit, because that initial information is so important, like your thoughts about the game, and that's how you really learn, I think. Of course, then you take it away, you can analyze with your coach or with computers, of course, but yeah, having that initial discussion is really good, and it's quite social as well, at least with the board. I met many friends in the chess world that way. It's going for analysis, play some blitz, maybe have some beers if you're into that. So yeah, that's what we're going to try to do as well after the game, hopefully. So let's see here. So I've been kind of thrown a little bit off guard with his opening choices here. I thought he was going to go for a caro-kann classical main line. That's what I prepared for, but he had this early knight c5 idea, which I have seen it before, but I do need to read up on it. I haven't played caro-kann for that long. I used to play it when I was younger, but then I stopped and played the French instead. Played the French for many years, and then I recently played the Sicilian as well, like 2 years or something, because I was trying to play something a bit more aggressive. But I think my style is a little bit more positional, and I think the caro meets my style quite well. But you can, of course, be caught off guard in many lines where the game gets really sharp. So we'll see. Maybe this is going to be one of those games. I'm drinking some raspberry beer here. I shall do some advertisements. Nicola. It's pretty good. But I'm only going to stick with one beer. I think that's having one beer when you play chess is alright, I think. But then it goes quickly out of hand after 2, 3. One beer is kind of ease your nerves a little bit. You can relax. Maybe you trust your intuition a bit better, which is generally a good thing. Speaking of intuition, I've been practicing the book on Chessable called the Woodpecker Method. It was in my last stream as well, if you saw that. So the basic idea is based on spaced repetition. So you solve a set of exercises. Let's say you do 100 combinations that I did, and then you have a break, and then you try to do the same set of exercises again, the same set of puzzles, if you will, and trying to like ingrain those patterns that you learn, and just try to do the same set faster. And you come back to do it faster and faster, and hopefully those puzzles will just come to you right away. I think it's been working quite well. It's a bit too easy for me to tell if it's working or not, but I enjoy that style. Some might say, "Oh, are you going to be sick of saying the same combinations over and over when you see it for the third time or whatever?" But I think it's really good. It helped the author of the book, where there's 2 authors, Hans Tikkanen and Axel Smith. So they wrote it together, and Tikkanen went from an IM. He's been an IM for a long time, but after this method, he got his GM norm, and it became a 2600 GM quite quickly. I think it's 26. I might be wrong, but anyway, he increased very rapidly in his playing strengths. So maybe I can hope it will get me to 2000 again or something. I'll try not to obsess too much about ratings. I think a lot of people do, especially if you play online, because you can see that number all the time after each game. So it's easy to fall into that trap. But it's good to get some kind of a validation to see that you're getting better somehow. So let's see how it works out. So I recommend, if you want to check it out, you can just Google the Woodpecker Method, and I would recommend doing it on Chessable rather than getting the actual book, because I think if I got the hardcover book, I would just solve for a while and then put the book back down, and I couldn't be bothered getting a chess set out and setting up all the combinations all the time, so I would get lazy. And also Chessable gives you hey, good job, you did this, you got achievements and stuff, and the gamification, I think that works quite well on me. Okay, so he took on g6. So here I have an option if I want to take his knight first, but I don't think it's going to be good, because he can take on f7, like an in-between move here, and I don't need to explain this. I definitely want to take with h-pawn, so I don't want to make my king weaker, and I want to open the h-file. So let's see if he's going to go for some tricks here, because there might be some tactics here with the light squares here. But he's probably just going to take. queen takes and refill with another knight here, I'm gonna have to move my queen again. Maybe I'll move my queen to d5 actually, because then I'm gonna target g2 right away. And I don't think he wants to castle kingside that quickly, because we do have the open h file. But if I put my queen on d5, he's gonna have to do something about g2. He might just play queen f3 and we can go into some kind of endgame, which I think I'll be happy with. I got the double pawn, but I have an open file to work with. I can grab the d file. I can plonk a knight on d5, and yeah, I think it's a pretty good position then. But no, he doesn't want to trade. He wants to go for the bishop f4 idea, probably, to get a bishop here. Target my queen. But now we actually have some time. So I was hoping to have time to play my knight to d5, but I won't. I'm gonna have to move my queen first. But I think now might be the time to play e6. If he plays bishop f4, we can just play bishop d6. Takes, queen take, and there's no tactics, right? The b pawn is defended. There's not even attack, sorry, because the knight moved back. And I want to play e6 anyway, because I want to get my bishop out, of course. So yeah, I think we can play e6 here. Alternative would be knight f6, but then when bishop f4 comes, we're gonna have to move our queen. So I might put the queen on a5, but I feel like I might as well get my development on. Go in here. So e6. I am weakening my d6 square, but I don't really see a way he can attack it right now. So e6. I'm going to try to catch up in time a little bit as well. I think that looks right. I'm going to have a quick look and see how the stream looks. I think it's fine. Yep. Cool. Let's have a look here. So there we go. Okay. So if bishop f4 comes, let's see if I can drag here. Yeah. Bishop f4. We play bishop d6. We can trade pieces. And I have to remind myself of the match situation as well. So we are up 4-3, and this is the last game. So a draw for me would secure a win for the team. So I should be more happy with sort of to simplify a little bit more, maybe go for an end game. So yeah, I'm happy with trades in general. So I'm gonna try to, yeah, just keep the game simple. Make sure I have enough time, but yeah, not trying to play too quickly, of course. So a draw would be nice. The wins of the game. But even if I lose, it's still 4-4, which is okay. The team has done a really good job this round. So, but yeah, of course we want to go for the win. See if we can end up in the top 3 maybe. I think we did lose one round, but we won the rest. So hopefully we can win this one too. The pawn of the dead. So yeah, so what do I think about these knights here? He does have a grip on e5. But can he do anything about it? That's the question. I'm not really sure. We're probably going to end up swapping dark square bishop here. Bishops. And then the danger for me could be if he gets his pawn down to c5, say, and then put a knight on d6. That might be annoying. Or very annoying. But I don't think he's going to have the chance. But yeah, I'm just trying to see what White's plan can be here. For me, I just want to develop really, get my king into safety. Well, I'm not sure if it's going to be castle queenside or castle kingside. It depends if he wants to castle or not. And because I have all these pawns as well, the king is fairly safe in the center. I might end up sticking the king on somewhere like f8 as well, because then I can keep my h file open, because I already have I'm already attacking twice. My rook can come out this way in the endgame as well. So I might just get my bishop out, knight f6, and just keep my king here for a while. And I think it also makes it harder for white to play when he doesn't know where I'm gonna stick my king, if I'm gonna castle queenside or not. Okay, so here we go, c4. So now, he wants to swap off here probably and play for that idea that I said, c5, and then get a knight onto d6, where he will be attacking f7 as well. But for now, it takes a while before he can even get his knight here. We need to play c5, get a knight to e5, get a knight back to c4, and then to d6. So I have some time here to react. So I think, and also the other thing is he makes it a bit harder for him to castle queenside after this move, and I have to be worried about d5 at all times now. But knight f6 jumps out to me as a good move here. I don't want to play bishop d6 now because he can play c5, and I don't think I can actually take the pawn on h2 because the bishop's going to be pinned towards my rook. So he'll be able to play something like g3. I don't want to play bishop e7 because the bishop might want to go to d6. So I think just knight f6 now makes sense. Makes it harder for him to play d5 as well. So I'm going to play knight f6 now. Can't be a bad move. If he plays c5 now, he gets the grip out on d6. Sorry, but I get d5 in return, which also gives me better control over the f4 square, which I think will be quite important this game. So if he plays bishop f4, of course I can just play bishop d6. I can also consider just playing queen b6, where I will keep an eye on b2 and d4. But I'll probably just play bishop d6 and trade. From there on, I'll still have somewhat of a control over f4, and I can keep attacking d4. I think it should be fine. He might even play g3 here, but I don't think it accomplishes that much, because he can't play bishop f4 anyway. He might try and go crazy here, play b4, b5. In that case, I should probably be ready to hide my king away on the king side. Maybe just castle king side, or again put my king on f8, where I can still attack his king if he chooses to be on this side. If he goes for this pawn storm, his king is not going to have that much of a safe haven as well. So I think in that case I might as well keep my king here. I mean, not castle basically, so I can actually keep attacking along the h file. I'm just gonna have to wait and see what white does, really. I'm not gonna try to make any erratic pushes here before I'm ready with my development. So I think I'm gonna have to wait with moves like c5, which is normally like a good break for black, especially if white castle queenside. So you normally go c5 or b5 to open up the c5 or the b5 even. Moves like a5 might be good to throw in if I'm not going to castle queenside. This makes it much harder for him to get the b5, b4, b5 breaking. But yeah, I'll take it easy. Might even, I have plenty of good spots here for my queen. b6, d8, so it should be okay here. starting to get a little bit of an advantage on the clock as well, which I would like to keep. I did see that he was struggling in a former game. Yeah, he lost some game on when he was low on time, and I think maybe I'll have a chance to have a better end game than him. I'm not sure how many like tournaments and stuff he's played. I think he's quite strong in blitz and openings and stuff. So but I might have an edge on the end game. I'm not sure. I've been following him a bit and see he's been studying a lot like recently. So he may even have a coach as well. I had a coach for a while, but it was a while ago that we worked together now. Yeah, definitely learned some stuff. I got an IM from Israel called Asaf Givon. Yeah, it's really fun to work with him. We might continue in the future. We'll see. But I think a lot of people have kind of slowed down their chess improvement now over the lockdown period of coronavirus, because we never know when we can return to over the board chess. I think it's going to take a while in England at least. So we got bishop f4 on the board. So I got queen b6, but the queen looks a bit shaky there. I think the queen is going to be targeted again, either through c5 or it's going to start pushing the b pawns here with the rook behind. So I think just just bishop d6 here is going to be my move. I have to look out for tactics though. So if he can't play c5, I'm just going to take the bishop. Most likely he's going to take, but he may play moves like queen d2 anyway. But then I'm happy with just trading, I think. So yeah, bishop d6 sort of helps my development a little bit. He might just put a knight on e5 now, because it makes it hard for me to take it. But yeah, knight e5 perhaps. And then he's not really threatening that much. He may start to threaten things if he gets to castle, put a rook on e1, queen on e2. Then we may have knight takes f7 stuff. Like king takes, he would just take it with his queen on e6. Because he has this knight here, he can sort of choose when he wants to attack, because he can either take here or take here. So I think knight e5, some knight to e5 is probably a good move here. It's gonna have a real stronghold on e5, but I can get close in terms of challenging it, because I can even put a rook on h5 if I want to. But if he puts a knight here, he would have already 3 pieces defending it, and I would have 3 pieces attacking it. So if I play rook h5, for example, I would attack it right away. So you have to do something. He takes, okay. I think I'm happy with that. Simplifies things a little bit, and white has more space, so I'm a little bit surprised, but he may have something here. If I were white, I think I would just play knight d to e5 perhaps, instead of trading there. But let's see. I think my queen is decently placed now. He might still try to play for a knight d6 idea. Trying to play c5, queen moves somewhere, and then knight comes in through e5, c4, d6. But you know, it takes a while to do that maneuver. Meanwhile, I'll get a strong outpost on d5, either for my queen or for my knights. The d pawn might end up being a weakness throughout the entire game. You something like an easy plan for me. I can just target that pawn. So yeah, I think I'd be happy with c5. He might try something more aggressive like b4 instead. But we'll see. I'm gonna have time to put my king wherever I want, either on queen side, keep it in the center, or sort of tuck it away here on g8 or f8. So I think I'm quite happy about this position. I got some options here. Sorry about the background noise. I'm in the kitchen right now. I think my girlfriend's making some dinner. We'll try to keep it cool. But let me know if I can adjust my like audio levels or anything. But hopefully it's alright. And there's not too much of a background noise. So yeah, if you just tune in, welcome. It's Anders. I'm playing in the lichess 45-45 league for team Pawn or Dead. So I'm playing on board 1 here against playlionchess, which I believe is streaming as well. See, we have some spectators here as well. It's good to see. So yeah, we're up. My team is leading now 4-3. So I only need a draw here to secure the win. It's gonna put us on, I think, one overall loss, and the rest wins for the team. So maybe we have a chance of hitting top 3 or something. So we aim for that. So yeah, I'm from Sweden originally. I lived in London for 5 years now, playing in the London League. Sometimes in the top division there. I sort of go between teams 1 and 2. My strength is around 1900, I'd say, FIDE rating. I got my initial rating around 2000, back of a good tournament performance, but then it went down sort of a little bit. And now, because I moved to England, we have the English chess system instead, which is a 3-letter one, a 3-digit one, sorry. So I haven't got to play that many FIDE tournaments, but I played in Ireland. It was now a couple of years ago, in Dublin Open. It was a lot of fun. I hope to get to play more tournaments overseas when we can finally go back to some kind of normality here. I like to do these little chess trips with some mates, and when we were over there, we had a guy who just got his IM title on that tournament as well. So he was practicing really hard, and that's why when I started playing the caro-kann actually. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun. Hoping to get back to that. I think it's really rewarding when you see yourself improve, and that's what I'm trying to do. Trying to help some adult improvers, well, younger people as well, of course, but I know it can be hard to improve as an adult. So I'll try to bring some tips and whatnot. I'm happy for the stronger players to give me tips as well, of course. And hopefully we're going to do analysis after this game as well. I'm trying to get on a call and just talk through the game, seeing what our thoughts were, when we thought we were better, when we're not. So yeah, like I mentioned earlier, just don't jump into computer analysis right away. Just try to look at the game ourselves and figure some stuff out. So yeah, okay, we got b4 on the board. He went for the aggressive option here, which I think is a good call. White has to play for the win as well. So immediately he wants to play b5. I think I can probably just take in that case and try to target the d pawn perhaps. I know right away now I don't want to castle queenside, and neither does white. So question is if I want to keep my king around sort of f8 or if I want to castle. if I castle, then I lose out on this developed rook here on the h file, which is going to make things a bit easier for whites. I see now he's getting weaker on the c3 square, so that might be something we can take advantage of. And the knight is now sort of pinned to this pawn, so he's going to have a harder time controlling e5. So I can throw my knight out to e4 if I want to, but I'm not really sure if he wants to play c5 first or if he just want to play b5. Do I want to play a6 to try and stop it? I'm not sure if that actually will stop anything, because if I play a6, then he's going to play a4, and then b5 is a threat anyway. He can play rook b1 as well, and I can't really stop it here. I can't stop this attack. He's going to be able to create something here, like some kind of weakness, so I'll be more inclined to go for some kind of counter-attack instead, I think. This rook here, I'm not sure if I want it to be on the d file, or maybe I want to play a5 at some point. But yeah, I can't play a5 now because he's just gonna advance and go for the kind of break he was hoping for anyway. I could castle and put my king on f8. But I don't think my king is in danger immediately. Maybe I can afford to wait one move here. And I think rook h5 might be an option here, because then I have more control over the 5th rank here. So it's going to be harder for him to play moves like b5. And I'm going to have a stronger hold on e5 as well. Plus I can start just castling manually, basically, while still having the rook developed. Question is though if you can get tempo on the rook. For example, with knight f4. So perhaps you can play something like queen d2 and then knight f4, and I have to move my rook. I might be able to put my rook on f5, but it's it's a bit shaky if the rook belongs there or not. It seems a little bit rushed. I can't see an immediate natural move for me to play here, except castling, but that that would make his life a bit easier. Maybe it's fine. Maybe I should just castle. I'm sure it's a fine move here, because he's kind of committed now to this attack on the queen side. But if I castle, he castles. I mean, he just has more space, and he's going to be able to carry out this queen side attack, while I don't really have much counterplay. Whereas if I keep the h-file open here, I might be able to create something on the king side. Maybe with moves like knight g4, trying to create some weaknesses there. Another idea might be to play on the f4 square, like try to play knight h5, knight h4, targeting the knight and targeting the g-pawn. That looks pretty good. Then I can refill with my other knight here. But let's say I play something like knight h5 and he plays b5. Can take, pawn takes. Take and maybe cancel. Maybe castle, then might be a good option here. Is a6 good still? a6, a4. I'll be happy to trade rooks, I think. So x4. If you then play b5, say take. If I can get this trade and trade a pair of rooks, I think I'll be happy with it. So maybe a6 is not too bad after all. I'm giving him more control of the b6 square. But he probably play a4 and rook b1. So then this pin is like nowhere from the thing anymore. Yeah, I'm not really helping my plan at all. I'm just kind of slowing down his plan a little bit, but not even, I think, because I'm making one move on queenside, he's making one other move, and then we have pretty much the same situation here. I think I'd rather play something a little bit more active. 94 might be a move here. He has to at least think about knight c3. Not that it threatens that much right now, but let's say we have things like b5, take, then he might have a fork on the queen and the pawn on b5 here. And controlling the b1 square as well, so you can't play queen b1 and still defend it. Yeah, 94 is maybe a bit tricky here. But the knight is also quite loose, at least for one move here. And I'm getting less control over the d5 square. But I don't think that's particularly a problem right now. Because it doesn't seem like he wants to play d5, he wants to play b5 instead, you know. King f8 might be an option as well. Yeah, king f8 just keeps my king a little bit more safe. The rook can always come out some way on h5, I think. Rook h5 is pretty tempting. Can I play g3, trying to get knight here? Yeah, I don't have that many squares at all on this rank though. Whereas knight h5 has a clear goal of playing knight f4, but then if you just place g3, then I haven't really done much, you know. If the knight goes back, I just give him the f4 square. And I can't really continue because the only plan for the knight is to come into f4, which you can easily stop. So I don't like this anymore. I don't like the knight h5 idea. So maybe knight a4 then. It's process elimination kind of. Then again, c5 is a bit stronger. c5 should be fine though. I can always refill with knight f6 pretty quickly, and he can't kick my knight away. So at least it's going to lead to some simplification. Sorry. So yeah, maybe knight e5 is not 94 is not such a bad plan here. What would he do? Queen e2, knight f6. Yeah. So I got knight e4, I got castles, I got rook h5 and king f8. So the moves I'm thinking about. The knight is quite well placed on f6 though, already. But my knight on d7 is not doing much. So my rook on a8 is certainly not doing much. And I already said I'm not going to play a5, get my rook out that way. I'm not going to cancel queenside, so why don't just play rook d8? Because I'm not sure about the other lines, whereas I'm sure the rook is going to be better placed on d8 compared to a8. He might throw in queen a4, but then maybe I can play a6 if I have to. And I will also be better prepared once I play this knight e4 idea. Knight e4, knight f6, then I will have opened my d5 here and play some threats. The rook may be placed on c8 in some lines, but I think rook d8 is going to be fine. Yeah, let's go with rook d8, I think. Yeah, if he goes with these ideas with queen a4, I can perhaps get my rook out that way, or I can just castle and try to break with e5 or c5 even. Okay, let's go with the eights. Queen is definitely gonna get chased away here, but now I have the option to get my queen to b8 as well, where it defends a7, because that way I don't have to play a6. I don't want to play a6 because then b6 gets so weak. I can't really place my knight on b6 and have it being protected, so yeah, I think the queen hides away on b8 pretty nicely. Because I don't want the queen to be a target for his pawns and the knights here. He might try to open the b file somehow, but yeah, I'd rather play queen b8 than a6, I think, if queen a4 comes. And if he goes all in here, I can just quickly castle and break in the center. That should be fine, I think. He might start worrying about the g pawn here. How will I attack it though? Maybe some kind of rook exchange sack on d4 at some point. If I can get his knight and a pawn and the d pawn especially, I'll be quite happy with that trade probably. And then these pawns are going to be very weak as well. The pawn on c4, for example. His king might still be stuck in the center then. But for now, I think there's some kind of psychological pressure as well of just keeping the rook open on the h file, because he's not going to be sure about castling kingside. The knight might end up getting a bit overloaded here, having to defend h2 and d4 as well now. Once again, if he castles, this idea with the knight coming to f4 might come in handy, because he's going to be less likely to play g3, because then he weakens his light squares even more here. I can put my rook on h3 or something, which could be dangerous for him. So yeah, I think this is alright, but I do have to think concretely about b5. b5 and c5 here. So should we take c5 first? I have the option to play queen b8, c7, or maybe even back to e7, but probably not. So queen c5, I think I'd rather put my knight on d5 than my queen, because then again I have more control over f4, which I think is going to be a critical square, like I keep saying, and my knight can now jump into c3, so he has to think about that all the time, whereas my queen can get chased away on d5 quite easily with which is knight f4 right away. So what I'm thinking about is c5, queen d5, knight f4. Where does my queen go after that? You can go into e4, of course, with check, winning his knights. But he may want to castle kingside first, for example, and play rook e1. Okay, so we got queen a4 here. So maybe I'll just play queen b1, b8 now. Even though my queen is a bit passive after that, and he can play b5. Huh. I didn't think about b5 right away. It might be a problem because my knight's going to be pinned on d7. So a6. The good thing is he can't play a4 now. So a6, a6, b5, take, 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 queen takes. But then my pawn here on b7 is just going to be weak. It's going to be an alone pawn that he can target with the rook quite easily. Whereas I'm going to have a harder time attacking d4 probably. So I'm inclined to just play queen b8 here. If b5 anyway, I can take. He'll probably take with the queen, and then I can castle myself out of this pin. And I have the option to chase the queen away with a6 if I have to as well. See, I'm going to pick queen b8 here, defending the pawn. Well, firstly, can I get away with not defending the pawn? A castle or something. Take. No, I can't really chase the queen away. I can't take on b4, of course. No, I'm going to have to defend the pawn. So let's play queen b8. I do have knight b6 as a resource now as well. That might come in handy. Maybe directly if he plays b5 actually. I can chase the queen away first. Yeah, sure. Let's see if he wants to play b5 first. And also, because I have the queen on b8 now, I can play b5 myself. It might be good. Then I can essentially force him to take with his c-pawn on b5. Sorry about that noise. It's over now. b5, yeah, might be pretty good. Takes. C takes. He has to worry about it at least. He's probably going to play b5. And then the question is, can I play knight b6 first? He's probably going to drop back to b3, defending his pawn on c4. But then, yeah, my knight is probably better placed on b6. If he ever plays c5, then I can just jump on into d5. And my rook is now activated on the d file, which this knight is still quite strong here, defending d4, but it looks a bit more active with knight b6 thrown in. And I don't want to have my queen be tied down too long to defend a7 as well. But at the same time, I feel like I'm kind of helping him because he would rather have played like queen b3, a4, rook b1 maybe, and then b5 to get his rook in the attack as well. But let's see which way he chooses to go here. I'm getting some advantage on the clock here as well, which I think is going to be important. Hopefully I can catch him in time trouble later on that I talked about before. I think he lost some clearly won games in time trouble before in the end game, so hoping for something like that again. So let's keep him thinking here. b5, knight b6, queen b3 maybe. Do I need to take on b5 then? His threat is to take. Oh, he plays c5. Okay. Right. So yeah, instinctively I want to put my knight on d5. I don't really see why I shouldn't. He might try to go for his knight on d6 here. Like knight e5, knight c4, knight d6. But by the time the knight comes there, I'll be castled, or I can break. Does he want to play b5 now? Yeah, he wants to, because now I can't play knight b6. So maybe now is a good time to throw in a6 then. Because, okay, let's see, knight... Oh, but he has a tactical problem here, I think. Knight d5, let's see, he plays b5 right away. Then I can play knight c3, hitting his queen and hitting b5. So whenever he moves his queen, I can just take with my knight on b5, and it's completely fine. So he has to prepare something with the rook, but it's awkward because I have this fork here. So yeah, I think definitely knight d5 here, because I don't have to worry about b5, I think. Knight c3, can he take here? Something crazy. I just take his queen, I take on d7. No, it's nothing. I'm just gonna play it. We can check knight e5 first, but I mean, it's fine. I'll have time to castle, so I don't have to worry about any sacks on c6 or anything like that. So yeah, let's go with knight e5. So I'm just gonna head to the bathroom real quick. I'll be right back. Tuck this away. You can have the oven stream. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's see. The pawn is still thinking here. It's good, trying to get some time advantage. Just gonna have a quick look at the chat. Cool. No move suggested. Gonna keep it honest here, both of us. Not watching each other's streams, and definitely not using any computer assistance or outside help. And keep things as fair as possible. A quick look at the standings. We are up one point, and it's the final game here. So I only need a draw to secure the win here. And I lose, of course, there will be a tie in the match. So we're in a good spot here. But yeah, playing a strong player. I think he's an expert level USCF, around 1900, 2000 FIDE. I think he might be the same situation as me. He hasn't played that many FIDE tournaments because it's US rated tournaments rather than FIDE ones. I don't know, maybe someone can let me know in the chat if it's common in the US to play games that are rated both in the US and FIDE rating. But I think the time controls are quite different. Like in England, for example, you would play a little bit shorter games in the league, especially in the London League, where we play on weekdays after work, and we can't really stay open for that long and play. Plus, it's going to get too late to play in the weekdays, so we have to play with a little bit shorter time control, which is not allowed in FIDE, so they can't FIDE rate the games. So he played a3 here, which looks a little bit slow to me. Like he's not really doing anything to continue the attack here. And he's not stopping. I mean, he still can't play b5 because knight c3. He's just defending the pawn here, so his queen is kind of free to move again. So my knight now has fewer options. I don't think it's going to come to b6 anytime soon. I do maybe want to keep an eye on e5 still though. So question is if I should play knight f6 here, which may even threaten knight e4 and get double control over c3 here. But I think knight f4 makes a lot of sense as well. But before I do that, I might as well have my other knight ready to jump on to d5 in case we trade here. And I want to give his queen a chance to drop back before my queen moves, so I don't have to play a6. Other things to note: rook h5, trying to play e5. Again, I think I'm gonna wait. It might be silly, but I'm gonna try to wait and see where he puts his king first. Maybe I should try to play e5 though, even though he has such strong control here. That would be why it makes sense to keep my knight on d7. Takes, knight takes. I can't take it right away, of course. He has 3 defenders, and I only have 2. But if I can get my rook on e8, for example, then I'm threatened to play e5, takes, knight takes, knight takes. Yeah. But he's gonna have time to develop his rook. Maybe he wants to develop it this way, but then he has this fork again to worry about. It can be tricky to just advance my g-pawn as well. But I need to protect g5 somehow. Maybe rook h5 isn't such a bad idea. You can still put a knight here though. But then, then I might have a rook sack actually. Let's say rook h5. Let's say knight e5. Knight takes, rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes. And if the king moves, we can take on a1. But of course, he may play something like king d2, defending his rook. But then no, then I have this file as well. I can take, yeah, my rook can just come down. It's quite dangerous for him. So yeah, maybe rook h5 is quite good here. Seems a bit odd, but I think it might play in my favor. It's certainly a move he has to think about a lot, so I think that's also quite good. I'd rather play something a bit odd, so he's not going to be able to just castle right away. Even though that might still be a good move, but yeah, I think rook h5 is not too bad actually. I'm keeping control over f4. If he plays g3, then fine. I'm not going to be able to jump to f4, but his king gets weaker again. And his light squares here. It gets a little bit hard for my king to escape quickly, but I think it should be fine still. Rook, let me think about this idea again. Rook h5. Let's say knight e5. Knight takes, rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes. So my knight is still here. This knight is gone, so the knight is going to be super powerful. Just moving in, activating my rook. It just looks too good. I don't really have to calculate everything. But it stops knight e5 essentially. And if I stop knight e5, what's white going to play? I mean, we may have to go back with the queen. Then I'll certainly have time to just hide my king on g8 or f8 if that's necessary. Yeah, I'm going to play it. It's a bit tricky, I think, and hopefully he will spend some time thinking about it. I'm certain it's not going to be the best, like objectively the best move. The computer will probably hate rook h5, but I think it's a little bit tricky. Famous last words. So now I can even play g5 if I want to. g5, g4. And I'm going to start targeting d4. Yeah, king f8. Yeah, king f8 and my rook can hide on e8. The nice part is, after all these exchanges, I still have my e-pawn left. So my king is a little bit safe just from that in the center. Of course it would be more safe on like g8, but I don't really have time to walk the king to g8 and keep an attack going here. I shouldn't say attack, but keep pressure at least on the king side, so he at least he has to think twice about castling kingside. So I think white is either gonna cast it right away and see, it's probably fine. Like I have my knight here protecting. His queen is way offside though. Okay, he's coming back now. That helps out with these exchanges in the center as well. But now b5 might be some kind of a threat. Not really until the rook is on b1 though. But now I might want to play knight f4. Just go for some exchanges here. Yeah, because I don't know if my knight wants to be in d6 and d7 or not. I might want to hang around as a defender here on the e5 square. And knight f4 is quite concrete here. Because it attacks g2, he has to do something about it. And I can take his knight with check. So he's probably going to take it. Queen takes. But then I can move my knights, and I can keep attacking d4 here lots of times. And I'm probably still going to have time to play a6, which buys me a bit of time on the queen side. But you can argue that king f8 might be a good prophylactic move here, because the king is almost definitely going to be safer here. Because it's not really clear how white can improve his position. He probably want to play something like rook b1. I would think. And in that case, I do want to get away from the queen side anyway. So, and king f8 also opens up for my rook to move to e1 to e8. Sorry, if the file ever gets opened. Defense g7 as well. But this, at the same time, this might be my only shot here to play knight f4, because he might want to play queen d2 or g3. So maybe I should take my chance here to play knight f4, even though my king is sitting in the center, because I do have some pieces here protecting it, and I still have my little pawn chain here in front of the king. So yeah, maybe knight f4 is pretty good. Does he have any tactics there? Yeah, if I can take here, it's just very dangerous for him. He can't allow that. So g3, I think it's too weakening. So he's gonna have to take. Queen takes, and now my knight is just free to move and start attacking. I can play for e5. I think after that, my queen ends up here. Then I can choose to play king f8, because probably I want to go for e5 then open up the center. He's still not quite gonna have time for b5, I think, because I can just take it, you know. He doesn't have his rook or queen or anything to defend it. So I think I'm gonna have time to tuck my king away. So let's go for this when I have the chance here. Take back the queen if I want to. The only thing is I'm trading essentially my best placed piece here in the center for his knight on d3, which, yeah, I'm not really sure it's very well placed there. It probably is. I mean, it's not bad. It's in the center, but I'm banking on that I can put another piece on d5 quite quickly here, so I can still capitalize on this. And I might make it harder for white to play his plan here with a knight coming to d6, which maybe that wasn't his plan all along, but it's nice to be able to take away some options for your opponent if you can. And again, I have less space. I'm happy with trades. Happy with a draw still. So trade should favor me still. My pawn structure is quite good here, apart from the double G pawns. He has some problems with his D pawn. Hopefully it can be a backward pawn for him for the rest of the game. Alright. I think he's gonna have to take. I don't really see what other options he has. Castling just looks very dangerous. I almost want to sack on g2 right away if he castles. But yeah, I think he's gonna take. And then I'm just gonna try to put a knight on d5. He's probably gonna put a knight on e5. But then I might just sack my rook and truly activate my d rook here. Take. Let's see if, yeah, he can't play knight e5 right away because I had 3 attackers on it. Excuse me. So yeah, I think it's gonna take, and then maybe castle. I keep saying castle. King f1, or just try to simplify. Maybe trade queens. But he's still, even no matter how many trades, he's gonna have a problem with the d5 square and the d4 pawn here. I don't think he can get a knight to d6, but I could be proven wrong here. I've got a bit of a time advantage as well. And this should be pretty good. Shout outs to my team here. See a few of them spectating in the chat. It's been a good season. I won lots of matches. Got some great analysis going on as well. Some preparation and stuff. I quite like that about the league. That you do have almost a week to prepare against your opponents. And if you use sites like openingtree.com, for example, it's really good. And even if you don't end up doing a prep, like I didn't do this game, but you can at least see what kind of direction the game is like to go in. So I can see there was a caro-kann. I thought it was going to be the classical main line, but ended up being a sort of a sideline here with knight c5. And maybe I could take a moment to go through the game just really quickly in case you missed it. You can see it if you're watching a lichess, but yeah, this is the sideline I mentioned with knight c5 and knight jump back. And yeah, here's where we are now. So that was maybe a bit too quick to go through, but you get the idea anyway. You can see it wasn't the classical line here that I anticipated, but what I did was just review my chessable caro-kann book, essentially, using tactics, and that was about it. I focused a bit more on the classical main line because that's what I thought it was going to be. But at the same time, I'm still learning here about caro-kann. I haven't played it for that long. I switched from the French, and I also played the Sicilian a bit. Even tried a bit of Scandinavian, but I think the caro fits my style quite well here. Quite a positional kind of strategical player, trying to play for the maneuvers here, controlling key squares here, like d5 for example. Try to play for endgame. I should do more endgame practice though. It's been a while. Again, Chessable is really good for that, and chess.com actually has some really good lectures there. I like the interactive aspect of that, where you can sort of watch a video first and then do the moves yourself, play it out on the board. I think that's really good. Okay. Sorry for the beeping. It's just food is ready. Almost. Instant pot is going. But don't worry, I'll finish the game. I'm not going to start munching on the stream here. So yeah, he traded here. Now we have the d5 square free again. Maybe I can put my rook on d5. But I think as long as the knight defends here, it would have to be an exchange jack if I want to get the pawn. So maybe it's better that I leave the square for the knight here. So I'll have to play knight f6, and okay. So he just wants to trade here. I'm tempted to throw in queen e4 check here, but I'm not sure it's really doing much, to be honest. Okay, so essentially he wants to get his king all the way up to c4, where he's going to end up having a very active king, which might be a trouble for me. It's going to be hard to attack the d4 pawn. But I don't need to trade queens here. But I am losing a lot of tempo if I just go back. I think I should also keep in mind the time aspect here. Try to keep things a little bit complicated now, even though I said I shouldn't, because he's kind of low on time. But I am really happy with the draw as well, so it may end up being a bit drawish. I will be happy with that. But in this kind of situation, he's gonna have time probably if I trade here to get his knight to d6 eventually, which might be a problem. But worst case, I'll be able to exchange sack here and win center pawn. He's gonna end up having a weak d pawn. And I think that's an endgame I can play, even though I'm technically down a bit of material. I could play something weird like g5 as well. End up having a strong pawn here on f4. But if I do that, it doesn't have to trade, and the pawn is just kind of locking my rook out here. But g5 is kind of interesting. Takes pawn takes. Pawn may end up being weak here, but I can of course just reinforce it with g5 if I have to at some point. It's a bit annoying because he can't play g3 and just take his knight. He's probably just going to take though. Yeah, I don't want to help his knight get to c4 and d6, I think. Is he going to have time though? Am I going to be able to take on d4? Let's say knight takes. Knight f6. He has to defend the pawn. Well, he can sack as well, but... What else do I have? Queen f6, rook f5 might be tricky as well for him. But then I don't have any spots for my knights. And queen f5, then my rook is not doing anything, and I have to worry about g4 ideas. Maybe just check and come back to d5. Might be good here. Check king f1. Maybe he's getting too much tempo, and my king is not entirely safe here. So king e4, king f1, threatening rook e1. Just come back. Come back to the rook is on the same file as the queen is. And his knight can't go back anymore. So it has an even harder... Yeah, I think I should just move my queen. Shouldn't I? There's queen g4 as well. Queen g4 is interesting, I think. Targeting g2. If he plays king f1, then his rook is kind of trapped here on h1. Not doing that much. Knight e5. She can't play it. Yeah, he's gonna have a problem with the pawn. I'm gonna play queen g4, I think. Let's do it. I have to be careful not to get my queen or rook trapped here, but they're kind of on top of each other right now. It's, I can put my rook on d5 if I have to. Probably. His knight can't go here. his queen is kind of awkward now, and the knight, as I said, the knight wants to go to d6, but it's gonna have a hard time now, I think. He can still, he could cancel, he could castle, but I don't know, it just looks quite dangerous. If I can get my knight into attack, it's a point, or even king e7, rook h8. I'm gonna have a lot of firepower on the h file. Yeah. Castles, you can't play h3 as well, I can just take it. So yeah, it looks pretty interesting. He has to spend more time here. Well, I think he wanted to just liquidate and trade queens, try to get a knight onto d6 and try to have a simple game here. So I'm just trying to look for what he wants and play the opposite, which is kind of maybe a bit too psychological way of looking at the game rather than raw calculation. So it's time to calculate some more now. Just make sure I don't play too fast, because I do have the 45-second increment every move here. And it's the final game as well. A draw gets a win for the team. So I'm going to try to play carefully here while still keeping a leg up on the clock. General plan here. I struggle sometimes with positions where I just have to stop and calculate, but I tried to play too much just on intuition, and it looks good, and sometimes it just comes down to calculation, and we need to stop and actually figure out what to do here and how the game is going to boil down the next couple of moves. So I'm going to try to stay vigilant here. The king f1. I think rook f5 might be a good idea, like pretty quickly. Just try and get an exchange jack on f3, because if the knight falls on f3, then I'm going to open up his king, and I'm going to open up d4 as well. But I might want to play it a bit safe and throw in like king f8, knight f6. Make sure I don't forget about any pieces in the attack here. But again, I'm not sure if I want the king to be on e7 or f8. If he castles kingside, then I might want to play king e7 and rook d to h8 here. But I mean, the rook, even if he castles kingside, the rook can't be bad on d8. He's targeting his pawn on d4. Might even be able to do a rook lift this way as well. It's rook d5, rook f4, f5 or whatever. And yeah, I made him think here, so I'm already happy about queen g4, but perhaps he's thinking about something a bit tactical here, like h3 castle queenside or something like that. No, it's not going to work. He can't let me take on g2. So he has to play rook g1 or king f1, I think. Rook g1. So if rook g1, then I know I can play king f8, because I most likely won't need my other rook on the h file. But if he plays his king here, then I want to be able to double up. So if rook g8, I think king f8 is a good idea, and also knight f6. But whenever I play knight f6, I have to worry about knight e5. But then again, I'm threatening just to take on d4 right away. So maybe it's not too bad. And he has to worry about knight e4 as well, which is going to pack some more punch now that I have all my pieces developed. It's only a bit risky if he gets to play b5, but I don't think he has much to follow it up with. If he can get like b5 and c6 in, it gets dicey here, especially if I move my knight away. But even if I keep my knight here, I mean, if he can play c6 with tempo on my knight, it's not really that much better. So knight f6 is probably a good move here. He has to worry about more stuff and get his clock running, while king f8 is not exactly threatening. I should try to attack here. Okay, so even if he plays h3, I can probably take it. Pawn takes and then take his knights. I already get a knight and a piece for it, and his king is quite exposed. So by that logic, should I just play king f8? There still might be a line where I want to have my king on e7 though, and double up, because then we can take on h7 twice, which might be quite tricky as well. Alright, let's keep it safe. I just tuck my king away a little bit. I'm not sure it's necessarily safer on f8 though. Nah. I'm just gonna play knight f6. Yeah. Yeah, I want him to worry about knight e4. I'm not really sure I have anything there, but I want him to spend time on it. And I don't think knight e5 can work in any kind of line here, because I can just take on d4. And everything's quite well defended anyway. I think I'm liking this. If h3, I'll probably sack here. I don't have to though. But when I do, when I get my queen into f3, then knight e4 comes with a bigger punch here. And if I don't sack, queen e4, queen e4, queen d5, for example. Maybe there's just no need to sack a piece here. Oh, also, rook takes. Can you play knight e5? Oh, I can play queen e4, check. Takes and then just move my rook somewhere. That's fine. Takes, pawn takes, queen takes. If he plays queen e3, then I guess Maybe it's not so clear. I don't really need to cash in, so to speak. It's just take. Queen e3 is a good move. I can't trade, then I have to, and I can't take the pawn, so I'll have to basically go to d5. Targeting d4 twice though. You can play rook d1, for example. Yeah, I'm not sure about the sack here. I'm just gonna check. Or maybe play queen d5. Because I don't really want to trade queens here. I'm expecting queen e2 to come, but he might, yeah. There it is. Rook takes, then a move, maybe not. It's not gonna work. Let's just play queen d5. Yeah, it's fine. His king is kind of exposed now. And now it might be a good option to play king f8, rook e8. If he goes g4, I can just take on h3, I think. Queen b3 might be annoying for him. The check on c3 looks pretty strong. He'd have to like hide away on f1, but then his rook on g1 is just gonna be trapped there forever. I want to get in knight e4 still, I think. Knight e4, knight c3. Maybe it's a good time to offer a tactical draw. I'll try it. Because if he takes it, we win the match. And I think I'm slightly better here, and he is down on time as well. It's a bit boring if he takes it, but if we win the match, we win the match. I have to be a team player first. Oh, he took the draw, wow. I didn't expect that. Well, should double check. Yeah, that means we win the match. All right. Let's see. Sure. Okay, I'm just gonna find my Discord here, and you can try to hop on. Let's see. I'll join a channel here. Some invites. I'm just gonna post in the chat here. No, I'll send it on Slack. Sorry about this. Lichess. No, he's not online. I'll post it here. I don't think anyone's gonna come in and bother us. If they do, I can kick them out. I got some challenges now. What is this? Ultra Bullet. Dr. Copernicus. Wow, 2500, that's an impressive rating. But I can't play right now, unfortunately. I'm gonna try to get some game analysis on. I'm curious about this love position. I think I'm better, but the reason I offered a draw was because we win the match, which I'm happy about. Let's see if he's gonna join the channel here. Yeah, he's joined. I'm in the streaming channel. Maybe he can't actually join it. So let's see. He should be able to. Let's just see that I'm able to chat here as well. There's a video. Yeah, that looks okay. Hey man, can you hear me?
Hey, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, all good.
Cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, right now I'm off my stream, but are you on yours?
Yeah, I'm still streaming. Yeah, we got 6 viewers still.
Cool. I'm gonna turn mine on too then.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, what are your thoughts on the final position here?
Yeah, I mean, I thought maybe it was a little premature to take a draw here. So I mean, initially, like my impression was you have very good active play, and
Yeah.
I was very scared at this position. I was maybe looking to play like Rook D1,
Yeah.
but then I was worried after Knight E4, and I wasn't sure. So I was going to play Queen A2 finally.
Okay.
And then I saw the draw offer. So yeah, I thought I was happy to take the draw here. I thought you were better.
Yeah, I would agree. I think I'm a little bit better here, and the time situation as well. The only reason really is because the match situation.
Got it.
But did you keep that in mind as well before the game? Like you have to win the match in order to get a tie, or did you mainly focus on the?
Yeah, so I actually didn't know. I wasn't aware. So what exactly was the situation? What was a must win?
Yeah, you needed to win in order to get a tie. So we won the match now by 4.5, 3.5.
I see. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't aware, but
okay. That's a shame.
yeah, I mean, I think regardless, like it would be kind of insane to expect me to win this position. I think you have very good chances to win, if not. Yeah, but
yeah.
What's your thought on the position itself?
Yeah, I think it's quite difficult for White to play here, because you don't really have a safe spot for your king, and if you were to like hide away on f1, for example, then your rook is on g1. It's kind of awkward, right? And the big weakness is going to be the d pawn, which might be a weakness like throughout the game. And I'm going to be able to stick a piece on d5, probably going to be my knight, and knight e4 is coming as well.
Right.
Yeah, maybe I should have played on, try to go for the win, but I wanted to play it safe and secure a win for the team.
That makes sense. So if I play Queen A2 here, would you have gone back with the Queen to D7?
Queen D2 here?
Queen A2 in the final position.
Right. So Queen D2. Yeah, I'll probably be inclined to get into C4, B3, and try to stick my knight on D5. And I was gonna play King F8 as well, just to keep my king a little bit safer, and then give the option to play E5 at some point. So maybe I'll play King F8.
Okay, so just to be clear, I'm referring to the move Queen A2, not Queen B2. So the queen can't get to C4 just yet.
Okay, yeah. So in the final position, yeah, if you play Queen D2, you said?
Queen A2.
Oh, Queen A2, sorry. Let's see.
Yeah, I think this is my only hope, to try and get your queen to not get into this critical squares. Like you said, c4, b3 is scary if you get there.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, maybe queen e4 again then. And if you go
And
back,
just repeat.
yeah, and then the queen f4 could be a move.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah, I missed this move. Okay, that's interesting.
So if you go to d2, then I have the option to come back.
c7, right? Yeah.
Yeah, c7.
Yeah, at this point, I think I'd try and play rook d1 instead.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Then, yeah, probably king f8, like I said.
Right. Yeah, this is only you can play for win here. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. That's. Yeah, I never know.
What was your general thoughts on the game in general? Like, I guess you were kind of surprised by knight c5.
Yeah, I was. Do you want to play through the game again? I'm just gonna rewind. Sure. So I had a look at opening3.com, and I saw that you're likely to play the classical main line.
Yeah.
And I didn't really prepare anything. I was just sort of reading up on my caro-kann. I have a caro-kann book, and I just looked a bit more at the classical one.
Okay.
But that's about it. So I have seen knight c5 before, but I couldn't really remember what to do against it. So I was thinking of b6 for a while as well.
Yep.
Do you know what's the main theory here? Is it b6 or queen c7 or?
Yeah, you have basically 6 moves. b6 is the main one. Queen c7, queen b6, queen c8, and e5 are the other ones. e5 is like the sharpest.
Okay.
There's some very high level games starting with e5. But yeah, b6 is supposed to be the best, like most sound and solid and stuff.
Cool.
Queen c7, I'm supposed to be able to get a slight advantage.
All right. Interesting. So did you know queen c7 much? Have you played much against it?
No, this was actually all. Yeah, I did the same thing as you. I kind of like looked into opening tree, and then I just kind of like tried to study this. I've never played knight c5 before in my life, so yeah, I just kind of tried to learn and wing it a little bit.
Nice. It's interesting to see.
So yeah, I think the way you played is normal. Starting with knight d7, it was. I don't think I've seen any games here though. Knight d7 was the first new move I saw.
Oh, okay. I'm guessing they play e6 instead or knight f6.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, well, I was thinking about that. I wanted to just throw a question mark to your knight here and see what you would do. I think I like that you took on g6, which is opening the h file.
Right.
It's knight e3. Yeah, I think I was.
Yeah, I guess it. Sorry.
So I think I was fairly happy about this because it makes it a little bit hard for you to play. I think a computer might quite like this because they have the double pawns and everything. But just having the H file open can be like a psychological thing for you. Like, can you ever be sure if you can castle king side or not? If you're gonna create some kind of attack on the queen side, you probably want to play c4, right? And then the king is not really safe from the queen side either. But yeah, it's quite normal still, I think.
Did have one question for you. Did you after bishop takes g6, did you consider? I was trying to make sense of knight takes c5, but I wasn't sure. I mean, I guess intuitively, like you were very happy to open up the h file, so probably didn't consider it. But did you pay any mind to this option?
Yeah, I saw that you can have the in between move, which is taken on f7 check. I just thought that would look good for you. I didn't really look further than that. You just win a pawn, break open my king. I mean, it's going to be exposed. You can get knight e5 ideas, and yeah.
Right. Okay.
It's quite good for you.
Cool. Makes sense. So takes knight e3. Okay.
So e6, c4. Yeah. Knight f6. I think that's pretty normal. Bishop f4. Okay. So what was your plan here? I thought you might want to play c5 and then try to get a knight to d6 here.
Yeah. Basically my plan in these types of positions was to play for b4, and yeah, I would always be scared of this dark square bishop. I think, like you said, because the h file is open, h2 is so soft.
Yeah.
So I think I'd feel a little more comfortable with the bishops off, and then also maybe then once the bishops are off, like d6 becomes even more highlighted. I can try and aim for outpost. So that was my plan on trading. Yeah.
Okay, cool. So trade b4 is quite aggressive here.
So I guess to be honest, like I just didn't want to castle here. So I was looking for meaningful moves other than that.
Yeah. Did you think about something like I don't know? No, I think b4 is good. I was looking at some ways for you to play here, and I thought b4 is probably the best if you want to go for a win as well. So yeah, I like it. It's putting pressure. And here I had to think after b4, like if I should castle, if I should play king f8, if I should play rook h5, knight h5. There's so many moves here, but all of them, like I wasn't really sure that the pieces were gonna be their best spot. So I thought the rook is, it can't be bad on d8, and after b4, I'm never gonna castle queenside. So
and to be honest, that was the one that I was considering the most seriously, castle queenside with a quick like g5. I thought it was extremely sharp. I'm not sure if it's good, but
yeah, it might be too sharp for me. I'm more of a positional player as well, so I should try to avoid it, especially if it's a game where white has to win. I'll be quite happy with trading pieces, and yeah, try to go for maybe an end game. Maybe play on the weak d4 pawn or something like that. So I wanted a quiet kind of position here, if possible.
Right.
So rook d8, queen a4, and queen b8. I thought you were gonna play like rook b1 and b5 right away, or a4 b5.
Instead of queen a4.
Yeah, it seems like you wasted a little bit of time there with this maneuver with the queen.
Yeah.
But you're forcing my queen back as well. Because I was looking at a6, but I think that's just creating weaknesses for no reason here.
Exactly, yeah. I think queen a4 was a little too hopeful, in the sense that I was hoping you would play a6, and then I'd clamp down with like c5 or something.
Yeah.
It'd just be nice. But yeah, queen b8, I didn't really seriously consider it, but I mean, I guess there's nothing really wrong with it.
Yeah, I also maybe threatened to play b5 now, so maybe that's why you felt like you had to play c5 right away. Because c5 is a very committal move.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think c5 is only really good if you can get a knight to d6, or if you can get b5 in. But because I had these tactical ideas where the knight gets to d5 and you can't play b5 because of knight c3.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't think it's that good, the combination like queen a4 and c5. It's a bit too soon. I think you needed to bring your rook into the game as well first, like rook b1 or a4. But I could be wrong, but I think that would have been a good idea.
Okay, got it. I have a question for you. In all these positions, was g5 ever on your mind? Like, seriously?
Yeah, it was. Not necessarily sacking the pawn, but maybe like rook h5 and then g5. But
gotcha.
Maybe that was too slow then. And the problem is as well, like the knight is just in the way of my rook, so I can't take on d4 right away if you were to take on g5. But yeah.
Sorry, you mean after queen a4?
Queen e4, yeah. Yeah, do you think I can play g5 right away here?
I guess like my motivation for playing queen a4 and trying to like keep you busy with some stuff, some problems on the queen side, was I was just worried. I was just worried that if I do something slow, like try to expand on the queen side somehow, then g5 would just hit me, and I just get like a destroyed king side right on the spot.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't really look at g5 that closely. That's a good plan to have. Maybe like a standard plan when the h5 is open and have double pawns like that. And the knight is just tied down to d4, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I guess computer is suggesting like instead of queen a4, queen d2, but yeah, controlling g5, I guess, with the queen. That's definitely something interesting.
Yeah.
And then I think, look to play your plan with rook b1 or a4.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay. So knight d5. a3 here. Yeah, I think a3 is just a little bit slow, but I don't really know what you can do instead. I just felt happy when a3 came because now I have time to do what I want. Really, I can get my knight in, my knight into f4. I can castle. But I guess you didn't want your queen to be tied down to defending b4.
Exactly. Yeah, I just didn't want my pieces, and to be honest, like I missed this whole concept of rook h5. Like I thought the only constructive things you can do in this position are like knight f6, just kind of getting the other knight to do some work, or try and castle, or to prepare some b5 stuff with say like rook c8 or something. But that's very artificial. So yeah, I just missed this whole concept. I don't know.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I thought rook h5 is something the computer would probably hate, but it might get you thinking as well, because you have to think about some exchange sacks if you want to play knight e5 at some point, and yeah, just playing on your clock a little bit here as well. So that's why I played rook h5.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good idea. Yeah.
Thanks. Queen c2, and here, yeah, that's what I mean. Like you wasted some tempo here. Queen a4 and then queen back, but it's easy to say in retrospect.
Agreed.
It's knight a4. Yeah, I think basically you have to take, right? Maybe
I was really thinking about other options here. Okay. Like I was considering, I mean, crazy as it might seem, castles, or even just castles queenside with like just a genuine pawn sacrifice. Just to just get safe.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think practically speaking, or objectively speaking, you kind of have to take. Practically, it may be a different story, but.
Yeah, king f1 may also be a move here.
Yeah, true.
But yeah, the problem is the rook just gets trapped on h1 pretty much.
Exactly.
It'll take a long time before it gets developed, so it makes sense to take. Queen d2. Yeah, here I just think you want me to take here. You're a bit down on time as well. You want the knight to come to d2, c4, d6, and I don't really want to help you with that. So, and even if you take with the king can be a strong piece and say c4, and just gear up for some pawn break in the endgame.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, I had blindness to queen g4 as well here. I don't know, but queen takes d2, king takes d2. I was even slightly worried here as well. Like I thought my king would be slightly unsafe, and to time it with like a quick e5 or something. Yeah, even that would be scary. But of course, what you played is like much stronger.
Maybe, yeah. I'm not really sure. I think that there might be some tactical troubles here. That it looks like my queen and my rook are sort of on top of each other. Like they might be some way trap them, or but I just have to calculate here really.
Yeah.
It looks quite logical, just hitting the g pawn, and you have to do something about it. So rook g1. I think that's right. Here I was thinking king f8 or knight f6, but I don't think.
I guess I do have one question: is if instead of rook g1 I had castled, what was your plan going to be?
So if you castle, then perhaps I want to put my king on e7 instead and play rook d to h8.
Okay.
I would just have a lot of firepower on the h file here.
I think I did have a line against king e7. It was h3, and if you play rook takes h3 using the pin, I had queen g5 and take, and kind of just like giving up the pawn to liquidate into a slightly less scary position.
Oh, cool.
but I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure the objective evaluation here.
Yeah.
I thought this would be a nice set of events though. Like I think in general I would be more scared of the position we had with the queens than down the pawn.
Okay. Yeah, it's always scary if you end up being down a pawn and trade queens, and then you have to defend d4 as well. It just might be kind of an easy endgame for me afterwards. So I don't know. Rook g1. But yeah, I think castle can be quite strong here. And I think it's a bit harder for black to play than compared to rook g1, because the rook just ends up being quite passive after that. Let's see, knight f6, h3. Yeah, here I was thinking if the sacrifice on h3 is good. So I was thinking rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes f3, and queen e3.
Yes.
And then maybe queen d5, rook d1. That's about as far as I looked.
Yeah, that's exactly where I was too. Yeah, I couldn't make sense of it, but I thought my plan was going to be similar, like king f1, just try and untangle. Maybe put the rook on g3, and then if I have to run to e2, that's fine. But yeah, I wasn't too happy with this either. I thought you could probably have a slight edge here.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think you can be worse.
Yeah, I thought if I didn't see like a clear advantage, it was too unclear to go for the exchange sack. Like my position is too good to go into those any kind of unambiguity, I guess. So that's why I just went back here.
Right. By the way, I think there's apparently some very nice tactical resource instead of knight f6. By the way, sorry if I'm throwing in. I don't know. The engine evaluation's already on somehow. I usually try to analyze without it, but
yeah, I don't have it on.
And it pointed out knight e5 instead of knight f6. Apparently, just like crushing. I don't know.
Knight e5, where? Oh, instead of knight f6. So
instead of knight f6, yeah.
Well, that's that's quite hard for a human to see, I think. At least for me.
Yeah, apparently just crushing. I don't see a way out of this. I mean, I'd probably have to take e5, rook takes e5, and then just like king f1 or something.
Yeah, it looks really strong.
Very scary. But yeah, sorry, anyway.
I didn't really think about that. Yeah.
Okay.
It crossed my mind. h3, queen e4, queen e2. And then, do we have anything better than queen d5, I think? Maybe queen queen f4 right away, perhaps.
Yeah, queen f4.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is quite nice. And then, I mean, like, it's very hard for me to find a move like rook d1 maybe, then knight d4 already, or knight d5.
On queen f4, can you play g3, perhaps?
Queen f4, g3.
Just
it's so committal. Yeah, I would be terrified playing this.
Okay.
Might work.
Just to kind of kick my queen away, because I have to go back, right? Maybe I have to go to f5 or even back to c7, and then you might be able to castle, like manual castle, like king f1, king g2 maybe. But you still have an open h file to worry about. So
yeah, I think you have to go to c7 though, because f5 would run into g4, no?
Yeah, you're right.
So after queen c7, then I have to play like h4 maybe, just to stop you from taking on h3.
Yeah, it's scary. Yeah, I don't think you can play g3. But
yeah, I have so many light square weaknesses, and this guy, I'm just going to be terrified, I think.
Yeah. Oh well. I kind of want to play on this position now.
I mean, yeah, it makes sense from the team perspective. I'm actually not even in this league really. I'm just an alternate.
Ah, okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So that's why I'm not like fully up to date on like team strategy and stuff.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, you play in the Lone Wolf as well, right? So.
Yeah, I play in Lone Wolf. Yeah. How about you?
No, I played Lone Wolf before, but now, I have too much time. And just too many other commitments really. But I may end up playing some more. But yeah,
for sure.
Good game for sure.
Yeah, good game. I enjoyed myself. This was a fun one.
Yeah, definitely. maybe we can play some more some other time. It'll be fun.
For sure.
Do some kind of collaboration.
All right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Nice to see other streamers out there promoting the game. So
yeah, definitely.
good stuff.
All right. Well, thanks for the game, and good luck in the next season.
Thanks. You as well.
Cool.
All right. See you.
Bye bye. All right.
Bye.
All right. So we won the match.